What's up, guys? It's a daily dose of mental health, and I'm going to be doing another video in regards to schizophrenia. Before I go any further, if you can like and subscribe to the channel, I'd appreciate it. Leave a comment below. In this video, we will be discussing schizophrenia because I am a psych RN, and I want to help decrease the stigma in regards to it. And first things first, the reason why I do this channel again, it's because I'm a mental health RN. I've struggled with my own mental health issues in my past in regards with anxiety and depression. And I have ADD, and I've had drug issues in my past. So just in case anyone's curious, this channel covers just the broad spectrum of mental health in regards to mental health disorders, to drug abuse disorders, my own drug recovery in regards to tramadol, and just generalized mental health motivation. So that's kind of the gist. Is if you're wondering what this channel is about, it's just mental health, broad spectrum, which falls under a lot of different, aspects of it. So in this, I want to go over just some basic common stigmas that come with schizophrenia, which you got to realize. A while back, I believe it was in the 70s or 80s, when Reagan was in office, across the United States, and this isn't, once again, discussed enough, there was a lot of different funding going on during that time. In regards to health, we were learning more about pharmaceuticals. Obviously, war. Reagan was a Republican president. I'm not going to disrespect him, but one part that I don't agree with personally is the fact that he did essentially destroy a lot of the mental health funding, meaning he shut down a lot of mental health hospitals, resulting in a lot of long patient facilities, psych facilities being shut down. And that is why today, if you notice, especially if you work in a psych facility or if you've ever been to one, I've worked in plenty, I'll be working, that's primarily the field I work in, is inpatient, high acuity psych settings, they're never slow. I mean, that's the reality. They're always very busy, and I contribute this a lot too. And I mean, there's a mental health crisis on the rise, and it's only going to get worse, unfortunately, with everything going on currently. However, there was a time where there was better funding, and it wasn't great funding, but they completely destroyed that, where they essentially shut down I don't even know the exact amount, but a lot of mental health hospitals, which destroyed the funding, which put a lot of people who have severe long-term mental health disorders on the streets, meaning people who have severe schizophrenia. And at that time, keep in mind, in the 80s, schizophrenia was thought of as a death sentence, more so in regards to, if you have schizophrenia, I mean, the word can be kind of intimidating as well. You were looked at as essentially a loony, somebody who, couldn't take care of themselves. They'd have things in regards to, sorry, I'm blanking real quick. They kind of paint that visual image of somebody like pooping themselves on the streets, talking to themselves, and that can happen. However, a lot of that today, the pictures they were painting you, those are just people in drug-induced psychosis. The good news about today in regards to schizophrenia is we need to reduce the stigma because it is very treatable. I've seen plenty of patients, and keep in mind, schizophrenia is a mental health disorder that is diagnosable. You have to be at least 18. They don't give the diagnosis before 18. And a lot of people at first thought, as I said, it was not a death sentence, but in regards, that's kind of how it was looked at back then. But today, there's plenty of medications that can help. So if for some reason if you ever are diagnosed with something like schizophrenia, and I'm just putting this video out here for if somebody needs to hear it, maybe nobody does, but if you ever are diagnosed with it, it's natural to be nervous and anxious about it, but don't be scared about it. Don't be scared. educate yourself on it. There are a lot of good resources today. Schizophrenia is not all about painting the picture of somebody. What's going to end up happening is you're going to be somebody on the streets half naked, talking to yourself, hearing voices, seeing things. Honestly, a lot of people that have schizophrenia, patients that I've seen, do not hear voices. They don't hear voices. They can be delusional, but a lot of schizophrenics are very smart people. Now they can get a little delusional with it, but that's the point of why you're on medication. There are a lot of people today who are very successful who have schizophrenia, and I guarantee you there are a lot more out there that have it that just haven't come out with it, talking about it. But I just want anyone to know out there who has been diagnosed with it, it is very treatable. There are plenty of medications. Now, I know I've talked about, for me personally, pharmaceuticals in general. There's a place for pharmaceuticals, there's a place for herbal medications as well, but in particular for schizophrenia, pharmaceuticals, there are some that have minimal side effects. All medications, everything has side effects, but weighing the pros and cons with a disorder like this, in my opinion, medications would be a first line. It would be seeing what you can do without medication. But if a medication is necessary, it's not an end-all be-all. They've got good medications out there. There's risperidol, there's like Prexa, Abilify, and keep in mind a lot of these meds are like Abilify, something taken at night you don't take during the day. They work really well because a lot of people who have schizophrenia have a lot of sleeping issues, which I don't know about you, but somebody who's not schizophrenic, if I don't sleep well the next day, I can be, if you're not sleeping for multiple days, you will be delusional, which that can make if somebody is having a bout of psychosis and they have schizophrenia, it can make it a lot worse, to where what you do see, or people tell you about schizophrenia, is them hearing voices and stuff. A lot of that is because they're not being med compliant, and if you're not being med compliant, that can lead to bouts of psychosis. But the average person who's diagnosed with schizophrenia and is educated on the matter and has the biggest part, not even medication, is having a support system around you. Being open with your loved ones and friends about it. Trust me, you're not going to be judged, and if somebody is judging you, get them the fuck out of your life, okay? Get them out of your life. Because I'm going to tell you, friends and family, if you're open with them on things like this, they're going to love you, they're going to support you. For some reason, you do have a family member who could be possibly very religious, or, not thinking that's true. You know what? I know that can be tough, but you, at the end of the day, have to make that decision, and you have to do what's best for you, not what's best for mom, dad, brother, sister. Because at the end of the day, if you are doing better, if it is through taking medication, if it's having therapy. Because the good thing is, even a lot of homeless people out there who are diagnosed with schizophrenia, they have a lot of resources out there that are free. I know in Kansas City, for example, there's Swope Health Services. There's plenty of services in most states. I know in Kansas City, for example, and in St. Louis, they have a lot of very good outpatient programs directed for people who have schizophrenia, severe bipolar disorder, bipolar 2. I'm not going to go into schizoaffective disorder in this video because there are differences, but there are resources for you. So yeah, that's what I wanted to make this video about, and also with the stigma with it. What I wanted to go ahead and say is, so this is by the National Institute of Mental Health, the NIMH. As defined by them, schizophrenia is a severe disabling brain disorder. Now, don't be scared when I say this, but let me read this to you. People diagnosed with schizophrenia can often experience delusions and hallucinations, which cause them to see or hear things that are not there and believe things that are untrue. The disorder can also impair a person's emotions, memory, and ability to socialize and relate to others. Now, let me tell you something about this, though. This is where the stigma comes in, where you think, oh, you see somebody that's homeless on the streets, or you see somebody talking to themselves, not, just doing all sorts of things that aren't normal. The big thing I want you to take away if you're reading things like this is for people who don't want the care for it. Meaning, if you're wanting help with your schizophrenia, you can avoid a lot of these things. As I said, medication, support system, and that's why I made this channel. If you don't feel you have a support system, or you can't open up to somebody about not even just having, for example, schizophrenia, but a mental health disorder, that's what this channel I want it to be for. You can leave a comment in regards to your own mental health, and I will be there to help you in any way I can. That's my whole point to this channel, is if you don't have a support system. But just because, don't believe there is still a stigma out there. It's starting to be reduced, but it's still there with mental health in general, and that's why this channel needed to be created. I feel there aren't enough of them, and with the COVID situation and everything, there's a lot more mental health problems coming about it. But with what I just read you about it, a lot of it is, a lot of people who are schizophrenic, if they're not getting help, they do have a higher chance of resorting to using street drugs, and that is what on top of it can cause they have schizophrenia, and that can cause psychosis. It can cause drug-induced psychosis, which can make your schizophrenia a lot worse. But yeah, that's really all for this video. I just want to let you know that there are treatments out there that can help. Don't be afraid to see a doctor. If you can't afford it, there are free services out there. Okay? That is your daily dose of mental health, and I'll be doing more videos in regards to other mental health disorder topics in the future. Love you all. Let's have a good week. Leave a comment if you want to. All right. See you. Peace.